Here's a question. In regards to, do you prioritize your future versus your college-bound kid? And the question always comes up is, can you afford it? Could you afford both? How do you decide that though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know if you can? Because I would say probably not. Like, most of us probably shouldn't be feeding into their college education, right? Because what's the trigger to saying that you can afford it?
Welcome back to Weekend Combo. Today we're talking about something real, that money tug-of-war between saving for your kids' college versus saving for your own retirement.
And we are not doing this alone. We've got a special guest in the house. Our girl Sammie is here.
Hi, everyone.
She's a mom, a budgeting queen, and she's got thoughts on this one. We're talking guilt, game plans, and giving yourself permission to put yourself first sometimes.
So whether you're team college fund or bust or team catch me on a retirement cruise, this combo is for you.
Well, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thanks, Sammie, for joining us today.
Yes.
Yeah, how are you guys doing? Like, give us an update.
Me?
What's new with you?
I'm just trying to survive. I'm so tired.
Right?
I don't know what it is. It's like one thing after the other.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, we sold Vanessa's car.
Oh, nice.
The old one?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Did you guys sell it pretty fast?
Yes. We priced it to sell just because we just didn't have enough real estate at the house. Yeah, it was priced to sell and it's going to a great owner and I believe she will thoroughly enjoy it. I can tell you, Vanessa cried.
Oh,
She actually
it's her
really
first car that she drove,
actually really cried and it made her sad.
Yeah. Funny you
and it was a
mentioned
great
that,
car.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that because I think my car is a piece of shit. It's like I got that car when I was pregnant with Ava.
Okay.
So it's a 2007 Toyota Camry.
Okay.
But like there's so many memories with the car. Like we brought her home from the hospital in that car. We picked up Bree when Bree was a puppy in that car. We brought Violet home from the hospital in that car. Showed Ava how to drive in that. So it's like
there's a lot of memories attached to that car.
I need to let it go because first of all, it's a piece of shit. Second of all, it's like I can't let it go because of all the memories, right? So,
well, and very similar. I was a little sad too, letting the car go, and I felt like, well, maybe we could just have it as kind of like a spare car, and that was the emotional person inside me, but the logical person is a BMW, which the biggest issue with a BMW or a luxury car is maintenance. Mm-hmm. And so it just didn't make sense for us to have that many cars and still take care of the maintenance on that car. So I did the logical thing and I let it go. But 100%. Like that's the car that Vanessa really remembers me in and her in. So, because I used to drop her off and, just a lot of memories attached to that.
Trust me, I tried selling my car. Same thing because it's like I'm worried about future, expenses on the car. I mean, knock on wood, it's been awesome the last 10 years, right? But I've tried to sell it so many times. I've taken for a detail, take pictures with it and look at it again. I'm like, oh man, it's kind of nice. It's that's I don't want to sell it. But
and that's
trust me,
yes.
Every day, Billy and I battle about it. He's like, we should sell it in case something happens. It's going to be expensive. But no car payment for how long now?
Yeah, exactly.
10 years old. I haven't had a payment in like 6 years.
Exactly.
And it's been well. And like, what am I going to sell it for? They don't resale very well. Okay. So to me, it's like, I'm going to sell it for like $9,000. Is it really worth it for me to collect $9,000 for this car? I might as well just use it until it dies. Like,
yes,
literally.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's exactly, but then it was, and it's such a good car. So, it was sad. She cried. She really cried.
I would probably do the same. Like I said, I've taken many pictures and tried many times to try to sell my car.
Yeah.
To buy something like a Toyota instead or something that's more, dependable and lasts a lot longer. But yeah,
mine just won't die on me. Like I just keep. Well,
you said it was a Toyota Camry, right? I mean, those last pretty well.
Yeah, like they won't. They won't die on you.
I have a 2006 one sitting at home, and it drives amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go.
What's
it
new
won't die either.
What's new with you, Sammie?
Nothing really.
Since you've been on last.
I mean, it's just the kids. I mean, now the kids are all like in summer break, and Bully and I are traveling, leaving the kids for the first time ever in 25 years. I think we've never been internationally without them. Mm-hmm. But they're bigger now, so I think they can handle themselves. And they have, all of you to call for emergencies, so I'll be fine.
Yeah, there's people all around.
Yes, exactly.
No, we're just planning for our trip. Yeah, I'll be leaving in about 6 weeks.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Exciting.
Well, I started college classes this week.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so I'm taking an art appreciation class.
Oh, that sounds like a fun,
but I decided to go back to college. I said, why not? And it's a summer class. I was the only class I was able to sign up for because I registered late. Mm-hmm. So I jumped on it. It's asynchronous, which is so nice and so easy because I just do it on my time. And I love it. Like one of my assignments is to go visit a museum. And I'm like, great, that's like a good summer thing to bring the kids to do while I'm doing my homework. And,
how long is the class?
It's just for the summer. I think it's like 6 weeks.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I'm really excited.
Well, I'm excited that you actually made that decision to do that.
Yeah, why not? I might as well, and I was able to qualify, for it to be paid for 2 years. Why not? And they were able to use my credits from when I went in 2002.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even remember that stuff. My counselor's like, yeah, whatever. Just you get to skip an English class. I was like, great.
Oh my God. Yeah. That sounds like actually a little fun. I always complain that I'm so tired. And I think it's because I just keep myself busy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just not good at just like doing nothing. So
I don't know how to relax.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Interesting. Tell me how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm enjoying it because it's art appreciation. Uh-huh. But I think once I hit like a math class or something, I'm going to fucking hate it because I'm not a strong like student when it comes to like the hard stuff, right? Yeah. But like, I'm really determined to at least complete my general ed classes.
Now, is there an ultimate goal that you want to do, or you just want to slowly
I just want to see where it goes. I at least just want to get my, my general education classes out of the way. And if I want to go for a bachelor's degree,
then, you have options.
And the great thing about it is that I'm just doing this for personal fulfillment. I'm not doing this to, further my career because I love my career. I love my job. So I'm in no rush. So it's like, okay, if it's going to take me fucking 8 years, whatever, 8 years is going to go by anyways.
Yep.
I might as well be applying that towards something.
Oh, good for you. That's exciting.
I'll invite you guys to my graduation party.
Yes, we'll be there.
So now that we're talking about college, our topic for today is, parents paying for college versus saving for their own retirement. So future me or future them.
The great savings dilemma.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this is a very fitting subject for me because, as you know, Vanessa just graduated. She's heading into college. And this is something that I really struggle with. I have very, divided feelings on this. But I have a feeling that I'm just going to pay for it.
And why is that?
Because I don't want her to be burdened with bills when she gets out. And so I want to give her a head start. That's ultimately me. But the funny thing is, that wasn't done to me, right, when I was doing it. But I did take advantage of the fact that I was working, and the company that I was working for actually paid for a good chunk of my education. So I wasn't burdened too much, but I just, I didn't have my parents just pay for my college. I struggle, but I have a feeling that that's kind of where I'm aiming at.
Yeah. How about you, Sammie?
So I'm paying for Kaiden's college. And again, I was torn, right? Because when I went to school, I got financial aid. So I didn't have to pay for school. I did live on campus. So I had to borrow some, extra money to pay for living expenses, things like that. But I didn't leave college with a huge amount of debt. And then I met my husband, and he paid it off. But
yeah. And Sammie, who is Kaiden again? Can you remind us?
Kaiden's mine. 18-year-old. He's going to be a sophomore at San Jose State.
Yeah.
So I think same for Debbie, right? I think because I believe in giving them a head start. However, even though I'm paying for it, I did tell him, like, if you don't pass your classes, you're paying for those field classes because I'm not going to pay. But he's been good. He did good the first year. He actually made Dean Scholar for 2024.
Congrats, Kaiden.
So he probably doesn't like me talking about it, but it's
not cool.
It's not cool. Yeah. But I think it's a good accomplishment for the first year, right?
You must be so proud.
I am.
That's amazing.
And then I'm like, put it on your resume,
So here's my question. When you made this decision, was it a discussion that you and Boonley had, and Boonley is your husband? So did you guys have a discussion of like, should we or should we not? And then did you have a discussion with Kaiden?
So I don't think there was a discussion. It was more, I think we both just aligned, like we're gonna help him with school, at least for undergrad. For his master's, if he wants to go, that's kind of on him, right? But I do think that I was torn because I do feel that if they pay for their own education, right, they're gonna, I think, maybe try a little bit harder because come out of their own pocket, right? But at the same time, living here is just so hard in the Bay Area in general, right?
Well,
so
this is what I'm afraid of in having her pay is ultimately then it becomes her choice, right? And so she can make the decision
to work instead of go to school.
Exactly. Yes. And so that's kind of the other side of it where, I want her to get a head start. I don't want her to have any burden, but also when you give them that responsibility and it's a very, I think it's a very difficult responsibility, not to say people can't do it, but then you leave them open to having a choice.
Yes. So, I mean, good thing is, I don't have to pay for anything else for Kaiden, right? So he also works. He works, like 24 to 25 hours a week, and he's in school full time. So I don't pay for anything else for him.
So he makes his own money.
So he makes his own money to like clothes, food, whatever he wants to do extra, like that's on him, right?
And he's pretty good with the savings from what I gather when I talk to him.
The last time we talked about finances, he was pretty much like, he had a really good head on his shoulders. He really didn't like the idea of asking.
He doesn't. He doesn't ask either. I even offer it. He doesn't take it.
I wish Ava had that problem.
My daughter has no problem asking.
Ava has no problem asking either.
Yeah, I'm like, here's some money, because he was going shopping with his friend. I'm like, here's some money. He's like, Mom, I don't need it. And I told Kehlani that, like, I tried to give your brother money, but he didn't take it. She was like, why? Like, how, why? What's wrong with him? Yeah.
Well, and let's be fair to you and Boonley and to all the other parents that don't, like, we give them a roof over their head. They don't have to pay for rent. I mean, at a minimum in this Bay Area, you're like for a room, you're talking at least $750. For a room, at least, right? And if you do live with, like, say, family, probably the lowest you can go is probably like $500, right?
Even that, I think it's really hard to find. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I actually have heard that some people, because it's so hard in this area, that people like share rooms.
Yes.
So you have like in one person, because let's say it's a $750 for the room.
They'll split that.
Split the $750 depending on how many people you can get in a room, right? So I've heard some people are up to like 3 to 4 people in a room because it's expensive.
Yeah, no, it is. And that's why I think, for me, it's like, all this, saving for them as they were, kids growing up, and even for us, right? We're talking about should we pay or not, right? And I think, what am I going to do with that when I'm gone? Like, might as well give it to them now. Why do we have to wait to give this to them when I'm gone? Like, help them now. Like, give them a head start. Like, and then I think, I just, like I said, I want them to be burdened either. When they're done, I want them to be like debt free, not have to worry, or give them a choice of like, I might as well have to work. Like, I have to work because now I got to pay for school. And then they might choose work.
Yes.
Over school.
But I'll tell you, Liza, this is the money paying for college is not a free thing for her. She's fully aware that she's going to have to somehow pay that back, whether it's being burdened with me just yapping at her, or, like as we get older, I mean, I think I've instilled in her that, hey, you have to help. Like, I'm helping you. I'm trying to give you the best life that you have. But at some point, it's going to have to come back. Like, I don't know if it's the culture that we live in, but it is ingrained in her to know that, hey, it's not here, this is it. And then when you're on your own, you're free. You still have responsibilities to this family, if that makes sense.
Well, I like the idea of holding over them. You know what? I fucking paid for your college. You better take me to my doctor's appointment. If I have dementia, you better take care of me, because that's my way of thinking as a Filipino mom.
But that is something and it's funny because I've talked to coworkers and they're like, "Oh my God, that's horrible! Like, why would you put that burden on her?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Burden on us."
So I'm a little bit total opposite of that, and I think it's because I'm the one that's burdened with everybody. Like, I'm that person in my family where I take everybody in, right? It's always been someone, like, it's rarely any just us, right? And I've always, since I was just talking to my son about this yesterday. So my nephew called me, and he's actually going to be retiring from the army next July.
That's awesome.
It's 20 years. He's only going to be 39. And I remember raising him in high school, and when my son did the math, he's like, "Mom, you were only 7 years older than him," right? And I'm like, I didn't think about that. But yeah, he lived with me in high school. But I was always that person that always had someone in my house. And I feel a burden when it comes to my parents. And not because I don't love them, but just because of the choices that they made, right? Yep. And now I'm like, why am I stuck with the choices that they made? So for me, I'm the total opposite. I tell my kids, don't worry about us. They're obviously naturally going to take care of us, whether we tell them or not. I think they see that. They see us doing it with our parents, right?
So they just know.
So they just know it's something you do. So I don't ask that of them. And I don't expect anything in return, but I just know naturally they're just gonna do it. I don't want to burden them. I want them to, like,
you're so nice, Sammie.
I was just gonna be. Yeah, no, that is nice.
Like, have them, like, don't worry, Mom and Dad will be fine. But knowing that they're gonna do it anyways.
Well, yeah. No, well, I told my parents the same thing, because my parents are kind of like, they're both retired and they're still trying to, like, save whatever. I'm like, stop saving whatever. And I think it finally hit them, like, you know what? Why are we saving? Like,
YOLO.
you guys are fine. Yeah. We're all, like, we have our own families. And so 100%, I agree with you, is that, as an adult, and I hate to use the word burden, right? Because it shouldn't really be a burden, but it is a lot of responsibility to take care of your parents. And so I encourage my parents to, take care of yourself. I think the biggest thing is enjoy what you work so hard for.
Yes.
So I tell them that. But Sammie, I'm hoping I don't burden Vanessa, but if something goes sideways, I'm like, she's my safety net.
See, and that's the debate about it, right? It's like, okay, I pay for your college. I'm holding this over you. If I need to check into some old people home and I never get married, I didn't have retirement to do that because I was paying so much for your college, right?
But see, that's the struggle.
Yeah.
What do you do then? Because here's the thing, you don't want to burden them, but in a way,
you're taking away from yourself.
In this situation, do you think it would be different? Like, I don't know. So I see you because you're obviously single. So that's a different component.
Holler.
Do you feel
single guys out there?
If you want to take care of me? No, but do you feel like you're like that because you and Boon Lee are a couple, and so therefore there's the kind of the safety of both of you guys versus like you, Liza, you're like, it might just be only me.
Yeah. No, I think you have a valid point. I mean, we're going to be 25 years next month. So I think we're pretty solid according to my kids. They're like, I think you guys are solid, Mom and Dad, So I think because I have that safety net of, like, having someone, maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And retirement,
it's a struggle.
That's a priority too. Like that goes away, and every check, it goes away, and I don't out of sight, out of mind. But but it would be nice to not have to pay for that college tuition and take that and invest that instead, right? But again, I just think I just want to support them as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So my question for you college paying parents is, when your kids started looking at colleges, I mean, say you have like, San Jose State, and then like we're doing local colleges, right? Which is pretty, I don't want to say affordable, but because it's not affordable for me. But what if your kid wants to go to like an Ivy League college, private college, like Cornell or something? Do you stop them or like say, hey, I can't afford that, I'm sorry? Like, do you crush their dreams because it's so expensive? Or do you just let them go wherever they want to go and you just figure it out later?
I'm laughing because
it's like you do
I'm
you,
laughing.
I'll be in debt, like this is your dreams, whatever,
I hope my kids don't listen to this, but
I was gonna say something so horrible.
Or do you tell them to pick
this is
according to what you can afford? I'm just curious,
I'm laughing because as you were talking, Liza, I'm thinking to myself, like, I never stop them. I don't crush their dreams. I tell them.
You don't?
No. I like, pick whatever you want, wherever you want. We're going to support you. But honestly, deep down inside, I'm praying, please stay at San Jose State. But, I never really did stop them. Like, I didn't care where they wanted to go. However, I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. If they went to Ivy League, that's totally different story, right? But I did not say, no, don't pick that school or this school, but like, go wherever, wherever you want to go. We'll support you. We'll figure it out. Doesn't mean mom has money sitting here, but we'll figure it out, right? But I never did stop them. But like I said, inside, I'm like praying that they stay.
Okay, see,
local.
you're nicer. I was going to say something else. Like, and this was, I don't know about you guys, but I could tell from a very young age if Vanessa was a studious person or there's just certain kids that just thrive in education. Like, they just thrive. And
oh yeah, you're like, this kid's going to MIT.
Yes.
Like, I need to start saving.
Like Irene. You could tell which kid was like, they liked, or whether they liked school or not, you knew they were going to excel in school because it was, you can tell. Well, at least for me, I can tell. So I think if I had seen something in Vanessa that told me like, oh shit, she's going to want to go to Harvard or she's going to want to go to Yale, that would have triggered me from like day one to say, how am I going to pay for that? Because you're absolutely right. You don't want to crush their dream, right? You don't want finance to be the reason why they can't do something. But I could tell that wasn't her route.
Okay, but you know what? You never know, because what if she loves college? She's like, hey, oh my gosh, I want to do so much. And after she gets her degree, she's like, you know what? I want to get a PhD. I'm going to be a lawyer. Not to say that you didn't see that in her, but what if she sees that in herself?
And then
is that to the point where then you still pay for that, or you're like, no?
No. My length of responsibility
undergrad, right?
Is undergrad, and anything more than that is really up to you. Because then now, I mean, and I'm not saying that I won't help, but I'm not going to put that burden on me, right? Like, because paying for her 4-year college is going to be a burden that I accept. But if she wants to go for a master's or PhD, that's something that she's going to have to figure out how to do it. Can I help her? Sure. But I don't want her to go, okay, so now keep going, mom. No, that's not it. But like I said, to answer your question, I don't want finance to be the reason why she's not meeting her dream, but I could tell from the get-go, that's not the route she was going to go.
Right.
So I didn't plan for it.
Yeah. So let me just give some general stats, right? So the average student loan debt per borrower is $37,000 plus, right? And the average annual cost of a public 4-year college in state is around $27,940. Is that about right?
I think it's a little more.
Yeah.
To be honest, the average annual cost
for in-state 4-year college.
In-state 4-year college. It's a little bit more, because I would say
like 30
on
grand.
Average, I would say it's about 10,000.
Yeah, San Jose State's about 8,500 or something a year.
Yeah, a little less, but Is that with books or without books? Do you know?
Without books, but you know what? There's not a lot of book tuitions these days.
Because they do it all online, right?
Which is great.
So I would just average it out to about, just round it up to 10,000.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably a little less than 40,000 for 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
And question is, do you guys have pay into retirement?
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I do pay.
So I do on and off. So I work in education, so I think it's not a 401k, it's a 403b, which is about the same. And my thing is, the more money I make, the more I'm just going to put that in retirement rather than have taxes take that out. Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I also see myself as not retiring at the age that I want to. I probably will work up until my dying day. If I continue,
okay, what's the age that you want to? What's the age that you want to retire?
What's the normal
Like
retirement
62?
age now? Like 65, or has it
Well,
gone up?
I think in order for you to get 67 and a half to get full Social Security.
Yeah.
67. It might actually go up by the time we're there.
Yes.
Might, but like as the last time I understood was about 67 and a half, then you can get your full Social Security benefits. But it also, I mean, you should also calculate whether or not because you can start retiring as early as 62
if you're smart about it.
And
if you have been paying into a 401k.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the part that boggles my mind. I've talked to people and they don't even think about retirement. Like they're not even, it's like not even in their radar.
I didn't up until 5 years ago. But that, again, to my point is that I've been single for some time.
Yeah.
And when I became single and went down to one income, I didn't even think about retirement. I'm like, I just need to get paycheck to paycheck. I just need to live and survive, right?
Yeah, but even people who actually should have the means don't even think about retirement. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to me, it's I'm not even thinking about it because I'm not going to retire. If I'm going to continue living in the Bay Area, it's not going to happen for me. And
so do you see yourself moving?
It really depends on the kids, right? Once Violet, I have a young one, they have big age gaps. Yeah. She's still at home. So it really depends, right? I love the Bay Area. I'm a Bay Area girl all the way. I don't see myself moving out of here. But at the same time, if I stay here, I don't see myself ever being able to afford a home on a single income.
Yeah.
But, I try to put money into a retirement fund as much as possible. But right now, I'm pretty much living I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no. And that's interesting to me because...
And if you're single, it's so hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I mean, obviously it's very helpful that, with Peter, because now we have dual income. So the way I view things is a little different now. But when I was single, I was much more mindful of, where my money went. The other thing too is college savings. So I know some people have opened up once they had a kid was the 529 plan. I actually didn't do that.
I didn't do it.
I didn't even know that really existed, to be honest with you. Is that the Gerber one? It's the Gerber. You know what I'm talking about? You think the Gerber
I don't know. I didn't do it. Well, a part of it too was maybe my lack of education. I don't know if it was good or bad, but for me, I just felt like I said, I kind of assessed my daughter at how she was going to be. And I knew she wasn't trying to go to an Ivy League college. And in my head, I knew she wanted to go away, but I knew that would cost $100,000 more just for her to go out of state. Although there are some programs that Sammie, you shared with us that wouldn't require that out of state fees. But long story short, I just figured I'd pay for it.
No, we just couldn't do it. I mean, to be honest, we just couldn't afford it. We were also trying to get by, trying to just survive, right? With two little kids, and I'm like, there's no room for the extra retirement funds, no room for, the 529 plan, none of that. Realistically, retirement stuff really started maybe a little over 10 years ago. So really not that long ago for us, right? So prior to that, we were also, paycheck to paycheck, trying to survive. How are we going to like be able to feed our 2 young children, So all of that stuff was not even like thought about. Like there's no way, I don't have extra money to pay for that.
So here's a question. So in regards to, do you prioritize your future versus your college bound kid? And the question always comes up is, can you afford it? Could you afford both? Right. And how do you decide that though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know if you can? Because I would say probably not. Like most of us probably shouldn't be, feeding into their college education, right? Because what's the trigger to saying that you can afford it?
Cut down vacations.
No door dashing, Debbie.
None of this Starbucks every day.
So that's the thing. If you
cut down, I think, yeah.
So that's that, because it's just not it's not this plethora of like no bottom of like just keep drawing from, right? So basically you paying for Kaiden's college is really eliminating some of the things that you probably would have done with that money, which is it doesn't sound like you would have probably put it in retirement. You would have used it for maybe vacation or like some other thing, right?
Yes.
So that wasn't money that you had intended to put on your savings to begin, like your retirement to begin with.
Not for us. Yeah. Because the retirement, like I said, I do maximize it, like out of sight, out of mind. I figure if it doesn't hit my bank account, I'll like never really use it. Right. Yeah. And, so we maximize that. And then, so yeah, like the other stuff, I would do other things with, but now we're just kind of cutting back a little bit, and so we can help support him, right? And in another 2 years, Kehlani will be at college, so I think I'll have 2 kids in college
for 2 years.
For 1 year.
Oh, for 1 year. Okay,
for 1 year. So I'm planning ahead for that, right? But again, it's gonna go by fast. So it's a temporary struggle for us, I think, a temporary sacrifice for us to be able to give them the life that to give them a head start,
because it's not like it's not something. So once he gets his degree, you're like, okay, now there's not much that you should be looking at me to pay for, because you should be like, you still have a home, so if you want to stay here, that still doesn't change.
I'm sure he's not going anywhere.
So but I guess my point is that anything he wants after that is really on him. You'll just be able to now sustain him for like, hey, if you want to live here or whatever, but you're not trying to like get him an apartment.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, if he wants to move out, that's on them.
That's on him.
Yeah. Like I think if they're smart enough, they'll probably stay at home for a while to save money. Like I wish I had that. Like I wish I wasn't in a hurry to leave my house.
Yeah.
Well, my parents divorced and they wanted to sell the house, so I had no choice but to move out.
I wanted to leave my house so bad. Like I was with my, like stepmom and stepbrothers, and like we had a whole house full of people, and like I didn't have any space. Like I shared room. I'm like, I just need to get out of here.
Yeah,
I need to get out of here.
Well, financial experts say that retirement should come first. So, because your kid can essentially apply for scholarships, grants, or loans, but that's also not a guarantee, because I think that's what is so competitive now, right? Or scholarships. And according to Fidelity, parents should aim to save at least 15% of their income for retirement and only contribute to college funds after hitting that. So I think my reasoning was when I looked into applying towards a 403B is like, I'm just going to put as much money as I can into retirement. And if for some reason Ava, Violet, Haley don't win any scholarships or, have any grants, then pull out of that. But there are penalties. That's the thing. But that was just my thinking at the time. Like at least putting towards retirement. And if worse comes to worse, then I can always dip into, my 403B. But that was just me. And if you can afford both, the great thing about 403Bs, and I'm slowly learning about this stuff, is that your employer will many jobs will match. So that's free money on the table.
It is absolutely free money.
And then you can put any extra towards college savings or, the 529 plan.
Yeah. Would you ever ask Kaiden to pay it back?
No, I probably won't. Yeah, not for his undergrad.
Just because I think he would probably pay it back in other ways.
And he honestly even said like, Mom, I can pay for my own school. Like he wouldn't have mind paying for it. Right. But to me, it's like,
So you really feel like it's your responsibility?
I do. I mean, like I said, he said he can pay for it, and he probably can.
Yeah.
You know, but to me, it's like, okay, fine. If he does pay for school, that extra money that I would have paid for school, I would have probably saved it for him anyways. So I think either way, I would have been fine. Maybe he would feel better about it if he paid for his own school, right? But I just felt like, you know what? I want to support him. I want to help him, you know, and I want to, like I said, give him that head start where he doesn't leave school with any debt. But you know, he can pay for it if I let him, right?
Yeah.
But to me, it's like,
That was money that you were going to give him
yeah, like I
anyways.
was gonna like help him anyway since day one. Like I knew they were gonna go to college. Like that was like they didn't have a choice. So that was always something we kind of thought about since they were little. You know, not that we had anything extra to like really save for them when they were younger, right? It just really took a lot of years to finally, you know, save for them. But we're slowly just. It wasn't like we had that money sitting there for them to go to college, right? We're just making it work. We'll figure it out as we go, you know, but definitely.
So if you were in a situation where you didn't, like it was either your retirement, because it sounds like you have the ability to kind of do both.
Yes, right now we
Yes.
do. I do put the retirement and I maximize all of that.
So but let's say, for example, you were in a situation where you couldn't, like, you're like, you know what, we just can't do both. Would you still choose paying and then just kind of stop putting money in your retirement? Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's temporary, right?
Yeah.
It's a 4 years of temporary not putting money in your retirement. Would you
I probably would. I probably would. Yeah. Just like I said, it's temporary. You know how 4 years go by so fast, right? And I don't think the amount of return that we would get in a 4-year time span. For me, what am I going to do with that extra? Like what even if my retirement plan does well in the 4 years that I put in, right? Like what am I going to do with that later on down the road? Like I might as well use that and help them because it is temporary.
Yep.
4 years is like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, it's 1 year down already. Like there's 3 more years left of him.
Yep.
You know, and then Kehlani says she might just stay local and even go to a community or something. So she'll save me more money for 2 years, right?
I think that is, if you can get somebody who has that power to just like do the 2 years and you know that, you know what, they're just doing this for the 2 years, save money, and then they're going to go, would be the 100% the route.
Yes. So she's considering that, right? So
I think that's
to me,
awesome.
it's like for her, then really it's just 2 years of her education. If
I'm
that's the
hoping
case,
Ava
you know?
does that because she doesn't know what she wants to teach, but that could easily change.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping she does the 2 year because if you go to a local community college, you apply for FAFSA, it's free. Like me, like I didn't have to pay anything really. So I'm really, really, really hoping that she goes that route because she was like wanting to go to like a UC, like UC Santa Barbara. And I'm just kind of like all this like money signs are popping up in my head. Like, okay, how am I going to afford to do this? But I want her to be able to go to the school she wants, but I want her to be sure what she wants to do.
But you know, and I don't know the exact like, you know, finances for a lot of parents, right? But just know that even if like let's say your kid get into like a UC, I know a lot of UC campuses in like UC Berkeley and some other campuses, if you look into it, if your kids get in and get accepted, if you don't hit a certain amount of income, it's paid for. It's free. Not through FAFSA or whatever, right? FAFSA might be an addition, but there is programs out there through the UC campuses. So check it out. Like look at that income threshold. If your kid is able to get accepted, if you don't meet that certain income, it's paid for.
Wow.
Yeah. So check that out, right?
So let me ask you guys a question. Would you personally feel comfortable asking your kids to take out a student loan or taking care of you out of your retirement? Like if you had to pick and choose.
If I had to choose, I would be comfortable telling him to take a student loan.
I would be too.
Because I think it's an investment in their future. It's not like, you know, it's wasted loan money, right? They're investing in their future. I don't see it as that loan being a burden to them or anything. It's an investment.
Yeah, but I would like to preface though that if, let's say, for example, we're in a situation where we just can't afford it and she would have to take a loan, I would tell her, like, let's say she had aspirations to go to an Ivy League college. I would tell her, no, that doesn't make sense. It's just, an education is an education. It's what you make of it. I would just discourage her from taking out a
something that she's going to have to pay for the rest of her life.
Yeah. To get a loan for $250,000 just so she can go to this Ivy League college. It wouldn't sit well with me because that's a lot of money.
Or like even like redirect them to maybe start a community, right?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you end, right? So you can go the last 2 years to an Ivy League, cut down that cost in half, and get your degree from an Ivy League school, right? But start.
I would just want her to be smart about like how she's going about with that loan, because to be burdened with $250,000, that's huge.
Another question is, what if your kids don't want to go to college, but they have a dream of opening up a business, or, would you help fund that?
So that's funny you say that, because my son did not want to go to college back in middle school. He was like, college is not a thing. He's like, I don't think I want to go. I never said, no, you have to go. Because I just knew things were going to change, right? And all I said was, we'll figure it out when we get closer, right? Well, we'll think about it when we get closer. So it wasn't like you had to go, although in my heart, like you have to go. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is your choice. So I think if they would have came to me with like a great business plan, don't just say you want to do business and here's how much money you want, right?
Come up with a plan. Like, I want to be an influencer, Mom. No, can you help me?
And I said this, I'm gonna come up with a great business plan. If it's something that I believe that is gonna do well, I would invest in it. Yeah. So I was open to that.
Because that goes towards their future too.
Yes, right? I was open to that. I was not opposed to someone who wants to go off on their own and open a business and object to that right off the bat, because I do believe in some kids where they can do it, right? So if you can, great. Give me a good business plan and I'll review it. And if it makes sense, then I would totally invest in it. So that was an option for me.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, Vanessa, I told her, I said, if college is not for you, show me something else. Like, and she went back and I think she thought about it and she was like, that's kind of hard. Because, here's it. College is like, it is a path, right? Like if the path is laid out for you, this is what you need to do. There's not a lot of thinking. There's a lot of effort in putting into it in order to achieve it. But like, there's not a lot of thinking of like, where your end goal is as long as you follow this path.
Yes.
So, and pretty much if you put the effort in it, you're going to get it.
Yes.
Right. And so I think she went back and she goes, shit, that's fucking hard. Like, and she came back. She goes, I guess I'm just going to go to college.
I guess that's my backup plan.
And here's the thing. She is she knows how to hustle. Like she knows how to, she makes side money by like doing nails and braiding. And so, but I realize she likes to do it based on her own terms, right? It's not because she's a businesswoman. Because like there's certain people that you could just go, oh, she's a hustler. You can tell. But she just does it because it's
a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Yes, like
so that to me just already tells me that she doesn't have that at least not yet, right? Maybe it's she's just kind of still young. Yeah, she came back. She's like, I'm just gonna go to school.
Well, we know how hard it is to write a business plan. It's not easy. You got to do a lot of research. So I expect them to do their research.
Competitive.
Yes.
So competitive.
So, but I guess, again, I wasn't opposed to like the idea of opening a business. I was totally for it.
Yeah. I would like for her to have that entrepreneurial spirit and do something like that. Because I do think that she has talents to be able to do that. But that's a hard thing. That's
not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
You've got no boss. You got to do stuff on your own.
Well, little Miss Violet, she's like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm like, fuck, I better start saving my money for college because that's not going to happen. And so I have another question. Let's think about this stuff. Say that I know some people that have degrees, masters, bachelors, and now they don't even have the job that they went to school for. In the event of something like that happening where they get this degree, do something completely different. Don't even make the amount of money that you thought they were going to make. At that point, do you make them pay you back for college?
No.
Not
me. No. I mean, to me, well, I live in a corporate environment, right? And so in the line of work that I have, you can't do what we do without a college degree at a minimum. And so to me, it just shows that you were able to complete something. Whether you use it or not, it doesn't really matter. Because at the end, like, I think what people don't understand is that when you're in the real world, it matters how you show up. So is this person on time? Is this person eager? Is this person listening? Is this person, trying? The college is just, the degree just gets you in the door.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I wouldn't ask for them to pay me back, because Debbie's right. It's a foot in the door. And to be honest, if they don't use their degree, fine, because they might not use their degree. They might just, do something totally different. But for me, it's like, that's why I'm in a rush for them to like hurry up and get in and get out. You don't need time. You don't need time to figure it out. Just get your degree and get out. Yeah. Like, seriously, like, I don't care what you get it in, but get it done in 4 years and get out of here and then get your degree. Whether you use it or not doesn't even matter.
Figure out your life yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't use it, but they have this piece of paper. And the only reason why I say that too is because I went to school as well, right out of high school. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I left. I got a degree in business and computer info system and telecom. I didn't do nothing in IT, right? But I ended up doing real estate. I didn't need a college degree to do real estate.
Yeah.
Right? I did that for years, and I realized that when I went back to the job market in 2008, it was so hard to get a job. But luckily, I had this degree listed on my resume that really helped me, and I didn't realize that I was going to be able to use my degree later on in life. And that's why I'm pushing my kids. I don't care. Get it done early and get out early, because the longer they wait to figure out their passion or whatever they want to get into, it might be too late. Right? It might be too late for them.
Well, I agree with you in regards to like getting your degree, but I do want her to enjoy college life.
Yes. No, true.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, so it's not like, and I think that's the struggle with her being so close to home, is that she might fall under that umbrella of being a commuter student. So it's just kind of a continuation of high school, right? But I don't want her to have that experience. I want her to have the experience of just being in college, learning, figuring out like what you really like. But to your point, I don't want you to be like this long-term student and being here for like 6 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I do want a balance of that, but I am 100% with you. You need to get in, get out.
Oh, and I was not okay with a gap year. Like, I'm like, no gap year, because
I took like a 20-year gap year. I'm doing great.
I'm not good with a gap year either.
No, because by then they may not want to go back.
They're probably comfortable working, right? And making that money.
Well, and I can tell you, I had a moment where I was like, wow, I like work. Why do I need to go to school?
A lot of that happens.
Because
sometimes
you
people make more money, with their job than.
Yes. But I do think in the long run, at least for me, like if I knew she was like if I knew she was going to be an influencer, or she was going to be an actress, or she was going to be like something in the arts category, then maybe I wouldn't push so hard. But I just don't see her being in that umbrella. Mm-hmm. And that's why I push her to like, you have to get something, a degree, have it. I don't know. To me, you won't regret it.
Yeah. No, they won't. And to me, it's like, hurry up so I can plan on my retirement.
So retirement versus college, I really think it is up to the parent, because I do know some people that are like, I'm going to retire. I'm retiring at 65. I don't know what my kids are going to do. I've raised them up until they were the age of 18. They're going to figure it out themselves. And there's some parents like you guys are like, I'm paying for it because I don't want you to have to worry about it. Me personally, I just need to get Violet out of the house. She's 6. I need to make sure that like they're okay, right? They're okay and they know how to live life, an adult. And then I will think about retirement or think about what I want to do for me. But personally, that's just where I'm at. I have a little one at home. She's 6. I got to worry about her. Ava's going to graduate next year, and I'm going to, set her free, and whatever she wants to do, I'm going to support that as much as I financially can. Mm-hmm. I am willing to go into major debt to put my kids through college. I'm fine with that, whatever, Like I said, I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. But once Violet is settled in. Hopefully I won't have more kids. I'm not going to have more kids. I already said that.
Whoa.
Then I'm like, you know what? I can finally breathe. I can, take care of myself financially. Whatever that's going to be. If I'm still in the Bay Area, if I find myself a sugar daddy and don't have to worry about it, that's my dream. But yeah, we just love our kids, and
of course
but there are some people that are out there that like, they want to retire maybe earlier, and their kids are going to pay for their own college, but they work very hard to retire early.
That is such a personal preference.
It is.
I really do. I wish
we had somebody here that's set.
Actually, we should have had Tammy here, because she actually
Sammie is our friend. Another friend, yeah.
And she has a different perspective on this, and I see where she's coming from. To me, I think that's just such a personal choice of what you want to do as a parent, that you can't fault either way. There's no wrong or right in this, right?
That doesn't mean you're selfish. That just means
I don't
work very hard, and you want to be able to.
Here's the crazy part.
Have the fruits of your labor for yourself.
Here's the crazy part. At the end of the day, nobody helped me. Like, my parents helped me. Don't get me wrong. My parents, I don't want to sound ungrateful. My parents helped me from making sure that I had a roof over my head, making sure that if I did need something, they were there. But the education piece was, I figured it out, and I took advantage of the fact that my company was able to pay for it. And so in that sense, I know your kid will figure it out.
No, they will for sure.
But I think for me, the way I feel is that this is, like you said, part of my responsibility as a parent, because I don't want her to have this burden 4 years later, and then her starting kind of with this debt. Well, I can do it. And like to your point, this is a temporary situation.
Yeah. For sure.
Now, what's going to piss me off is her not getting her degree, right? And that's
not following through.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the part that's going to piss me off. So I am not a proponent of like, okay, this year you didn't do so well, baby, so let's go another year. No, that's not me either. So I think it's an intelligent investment on
so there is a plan. There is like, okay, 4 years, you can't take a gap year, you can't do this and that. You can't figure it out.
But part of that is because I'm paying for it, right? Like, exactly. If I'm not paying for it, I can't really say much. You want to do. Yeah, like I can't really say much. So part of it is kind of like and
things change and happen financially all the time, so it really just depends on where you're at financially at the time.
Do you think it's a culture thing?
Yeah, totally.
The feeling of like,
I think so.
You do?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Definitely. Yeah. I think it's a culture thing. Well, I've had the same experiences. I didn't pay for, my parents didn't pay for my college. And like, it's funny because you grow up, right? And they're like, you get birthday money. They write you checks and all this stuff. And my mom's like, I'm going to put it away for your college. And then when I graduated high school, I was like, I'm ready to go to college. And she's like, well, how are you going to pay for it? I'm like, what the fuck happened to all that money?
That is so funny.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I totally got gaslit. And I did go to community college for, I qualified for fee waivers and stuff because I was a single mom. I did go for a year, but I had to, at that time, we didn't have internet. So I had to pay for books which were extremely expensive.
Back in the day.
And that
heavy.
And that was also part of the reason why I didn't continue, because I was on a single income and I had my daughter, and I'm like, I can't afford to do this anymore.
Yeah. So. Well, here's the thing. I like I said, it's a personal preference. There's no right or wrong. It really is up to you to figure that piece out, and no one's going to judge you if you don't pay for your kids' college.
No, for sure.
Yeah, because in the end, you're making that money. Mm-hmm. You're working hard for that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that is your money.
It's your money,
and you're giving it to your kid, right?
Yeah.
But there is strings attached to that.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's debatable. Next time we should probably get Tammy on and get her take on it.
Yeah. So there's a part 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Sammie, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. That was good.